Thanks for joining us for this director's preview of Utah Repertory Theater Company's 2014 season as we continue a season of premieres. April 25th through May 10th is the Utah premiere of Grace, a co-production with Around the Globe Theater Company. Pulitzer Prize nominee Craig Wright, best known for 6 Feet Under and Lost, has written a thoughtful, pitch-black comedy about religious devotion and the unpredictability of life. The first in-the-state production of the Pulitzer Prize and multiple Tony Award winner, August Osage County, runs August 15th through the 31st in a co-production with the Silver Summit Theater Company. This production, according to the New York Times, is the most exciting new American play Broadway has seen in years, and the lead character is one of the most spellbinding characters in memory on a Broadway stage. Title of show is a cute little musical about writing a cute little musical, running November 7th to November 22nd. The New York Times called it a 21st century update of putting on a show shows like Rodgers and Hart's Babes in Arms or Cole Porter's Kiss Me Kate. And we end our 2014 season with the Utah premiere of the rock-influenced Bear, January 16th to the 31st. The popular musical has been called breathlessly energetic and an obvious labor of love. Bear examines the consequences of bearing your soul, or hiding it, from those who matter most.
Grace did fairly well with the critics when it went to Broadway. It starred Paul Rudd, Michael Shannon, and Ed Asner. Craig Wright is the playwright for Grace, and he is most famous for 6 Feet Under, for being the showrunner and main writer for 6 Feet Under. He also contributed scripts for Lost and several other pieces. He's a well-known playwright, primarily a West Coast guy. Unlike some of the West Coasters we've worked with, though, in the past at Utah Rep, he isn't one that is dismissed immediately when he goes to New York. The play actually takes place in 2 different apartments at the same time. So we see the people that exist in these 2 different apartments, but they're identical. So we see them on stage at the same time, sharing the space, just like we do in reality. We share space with people that we don't even acknowledge them until they get into our own space. And so we're going to present this very simply. Very simple lighting format, very simple sound, everything, because it's all on the back of the actors, because Craig Wright put it all on the back of the actors with his wonderful script. One of my film professors once told me that great theater leaves you asking questions. You should always be asking questions at the end of a great show, a great performance, whereas poor theater answers questions for you. I hope the audience walks away from Grace feeling like they've got more to think about than when they walked in.
I fell in love with August Osage County when I first read it a few years ago. Having directed a lot of American classics, it feels so much like an American classic just in its form and its format. It's a classic American family play like Long Day's Journey Tonight, or Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, or Buried Child. It really fits with those great American plays, and so I was immediately drawn to it as sort of this revival of a tradition that we haven't seen a lot of those plays recently, and so I think that's what excited me about it, and I think it's great to try and get that on its feet here. It's set in Oklahoma, but families are families. We all have families. It's one of the true universal things. Everybody's got parents. So I think that this speaks to family and speaks to family issues and how we negotiate our family. And so I think that's universal. That isn't specific to any particular culture, any particular state, any particular country. It's enjoyed huge success in London, New York, and Chicago. I don't see why Salt Lake would be any different. Yeah, as I approach August Osage County, the first thing I'm looking at it right now as a director is the speed. It's a thrill ride. It's a family haunted house, and it's half terrifying and it's half hilarious. And I think that if we keep that roller coaster ride of emotion and language going, then that's going to be the most important thing about the production. What families take away, what people take away from it, I don't know. Everybody in the play is flawed, and the situations are incredibly complicated. And I think people are going to walk out and debate which side of each thing they're on. They're going to debate who's right and who's wrong. And like most families, everybody's a little bit right and everybody's a little bit wrong. So I think it'll make for good discussion afterwards. Just working with Teresa Sanderson as Violet, I think Teresa is one of our finest actresses. And I'm really excited to work with her on this part. It's one of the things that drew me to this production. I think that Violet has defined a generation of actresses, from Meryl Streep to Deanna Dunnigan. And I think that Teresa's the perfect person to take it on in Salt Lake. And I think for her performance alone, it's going to be amazing to see this show.
3 weeks before one of the New York musical theater festivals, and these two men got together and they said, we should write something. You know, there's a festival coming up in a few weeks, so let's put something together. So one of them wrote the music, one of them wrote the dialogue, and they put this musical together about their process of writing the musical. So then it was a success at the festival, obviously, and then ended up being picked up and produced off-Broadway, and it was so successful off-Broadway that they pulled it on Broadway for some time. Although there is a lot of beautiful heart within the story, the comedy and the characters are to be loved, and the audiences will love them by the end of the show, by the beginning of the show. It's no longer poetic, such as Rodgers and Hammerstein, but it goes into the I'm talking to you and I'm telling you something and I can't tell you anymore, so I have to sing it. And it develops into a song, and then the songs are very much conversational, which is, you know, a lot more of the popular musicals of today, you know, Next to Normal, Spring Awakening, and a lot of the musicals that are exciting, and the music is comedic, upbeat, live. The piano player is sitting right there with them the whole time, so they get to play with that nuance a lot, which is really fun, and it's beautiful.
Well, I fell in love with Bear a little over a year ago when I saw it off Broadway. It was kind of the revival production of it, and it really just spoke to me and impacted me, and I felt it was the perfect show to bring to Utah. I feel like a lot of the themes explored and a lot of the characters are really relatable to people right here in Utah, and it's a story that we need to share. It takes place in a Catholic high school, but it could be really any religious high school, and it explores a lot of difficult issues that high school students are facing nowadays. Particularly, it focuses around the main story of Jason and Peter, who have a relationship, homosexual relationship, and are really struggling with the church's teachings against that type of lifestyle. And the church kind of comes down on them. They get a lot of rejection from classmates, parents, and it's really interesting it's a topic that really I felt needed to be explored further and would speak to a lot of people here. I want audiences, after coming to see Bear, to really come away from the production with a greater thinking, empathy for a lot of the teenagers in our community that are facing a lot of these issues. I feel like there's a tendency to kind of keep some of these topics hidden or kind of pushed under the carpet, so to speak, and this really make some audience members confront some of these issues head on, and I think it can create a greater level of empathy and understanding. It's definitely garnered a national following. There's a lot of people that just are in love with the musical and travel from state to state, or there's groups online of when Bear's popping up somewhere, that groups will go out and travel. So Bear is a rock musical. It's actually listed as a pop opera, which essentially means almost the entire score is sung from beginning to end. There are some spoken dialogue scenes, but almost the entire show is sung the entire way through. The music is very similar. I would definitely compare it to a Rent or a Spring Awakening-esque type of musical, where very contemporary electric guitars, drums, contemporary flavor to the singing and stylizing. So a lot of the songs would not be unlike songs that you would hear on a top 40s kind of radio station. So very now, very, very exciting, very contemporary type of music.
Utah Rep's season of premieres began with the first in-state production of the Frank Wildhorn musical Bonnie and Clyde, which enjoyed a successful run in January. According to one reviewer, the production went from entertaining to outstanding based on the absolutely wonderful choices made by the cast, crew, and theater company. Single ticket sales have begun for Grace on Utah Rep's website, utah-rep.org, or take advantage of the savings offered by the purchase of a season ticket that will include Grace, August Osage County, title of show, and Bear. Broadway World called the company Utah's most exciting up-and-coming theater company as recognition of the Utah Rep's ambition and willingness to produce lesser-known plays and musicals that sometimes deal with challenging subject matter. Buy your tickets now to join Utah Rep's season of premieres. The company's mission is to produce regional premieres, lesser-known shows, and genuine surprises.